I just spent all day in Huaqiangbei here in Shenzhen, China, and I bought myself an AirPods Max 2, an AirPods Pro 3, and an Apple Watch Ultra 3, all for under $100. So let's take these back to the teardown table and see what I actually bought.
Huaqiangbei is a district of Shenzhen, China, and it isn't just a market, it's the engine behind global repair. A huge chunk of the parts that keep the world's devices alive trace back to places like Huaqiangbei, making it one of the most important hubs in the global repair ecosystem. Beneath the maze of stalls is a dense network of vendors and technicians moving everything from tiny ICs to complete device assemblies, making it possible to fix or rebuild almost anything. And then there's the other side of Huaqiangbei. The grey market builds a near-perfect counterfeits that blur the line between real and replica. We picked up 3 of the most interesting ones we could find, so let's head back to the studio and tear them down to see what's actually inside. Alright, we're back in the studio and these are the 3 devices we brought home from Shenzhen. On paper I've got AirPods Pro 3rd generation, AirPods Max 2 and an Apple Watch Ultra 3. But in reality, well, we'll have to wait and see. But honestly, I can tell you right from the get-go, this doesn't look like an Apple Watch Ultra. A pretty major tell is the software itself. If we go through, we can see what looks on the face of it looks pretty familiar, but as you scroll down, you'll find things like Huaqiangbei and Alipay preloaded onto the system. Going back to the main screen, this is the watch face, familiar colors, multicolor scheme, but if you tap on some of these apps, all it does is turn it to night mode. It doesn't take you to the app. The haptics don't feel like an Apple Taptic engine. It feels different. We'll know for sure once we're inside, but that doesn't feel like a Taptic engine. If I try to go into the weather app, nothing. Compass, nothing. It just changes the color scheme to night mode. Just like a real Apple Watch, the bands on the back slide out by depressing the 2 buttons on the back case, but a side-by-side with a real Watch Ultra 3 is illuminating. The real Watch Ultra 3 has a ceramic and sapphire sensor assembly housing red and green LEDs, an electrical heart sensor, an optical heart sensor, a temperature sensor, and a depth gauge. The clone, on the other hand, has a plastic shell housing LEDs alongside a sensor to enable heart rate readings, but the other sensor locations are painted on. The sensor and LED orientation is also reversed. I tested out the heart rate sensor and it does seem accurate, but I'd rule out any advanced functionality like depth and temperature sensors. If you've watched our previous teardowns of the Apple Watch Ultras, you'll see how the pentalobe 5 screws on the rear sensor assembly don't provide access to anything useful like the battery. The clone also has 4 screws on the back, but they're Torx 5 screws, and I'm expecting the story to be a bit different here. For the sake of ease of assembly, it would be easier to stuff everything into the watch case through a single entry point in the back. There's a good deal of glue on the back here, and I'm trying to be careful to not cut any connectors and cables lurking underneath. With the back cover off, I'm prodding and prying to see if there's a way to get to the internals, but there doesn't seem to be. That's a really odd choice for this device. There's no reason for it to be a screen-first entry construction. But I'll go ahead and treat it like an Apple Watch if that's what it really wants. That means heating the screen and using a thin pry tool to lift the screen away from the chassis. Once the screen is off, the battery is right there. It's not glued or secured to anything either. No glue is great, but I would have expected the battery to sit in a tray and be screwed down at least. What's not great is how the battery is soldered to the mainboard. I can make short work of it with my soldering iron, but it's worth noting that every smartwatch I've torn down in recent years has had a battery with a press connector. The battery itself is a 260 mAh lithium polymer pouch. That's compared to the Watch Ultra's 542 mAh. The rest of the construction is very straightforward when compared to the original Watch Ultra. There's a speaker in one corner, a round vibrator on the other, and freeing the glued-in button board releases the whole device. With the guts laid bare, it's easy to see what's what. The button boards all live on the sensor assembly, along with 3 LEDs and what's likely an IR sensor that reads the reflected LED light to provide a heart rate measurement. On the main board, we have the haptics and speaker. That dangling black wire at the bottom, very likely an antenna to enable Bluetooth connections. And of course, the main board housing the ICs running the device. Alright, we're moving on to the AirPods Max 2, and with this one, everything feels a little bit off and it's all through touch. Right here on the headband, this should be rubber, but it's more of a plasticky material. It just doesn't feel right. It's the same with the band itself at the top here. There's way too much flex in this. The real one, a real AirPods Max 2, does not have that kind of flex in the headband. The case, surprisingly, is pretty convincing. I didn't notice anything immediately obvious about this being fake. This case should be aluminium, again, just through touch. That is plastic, that is not an aluminium shell. Turning it over, we've got the cushions. color of the cushions are all wrong. They don't feel right. They're just a little bit too smushy. The cushion doesn't hold itself very well. And you can see at the top, there's a bit of fraying here. We haven't even used these AirPods. It's not gone on anyone's head yet. And there's already strands of it coming off. This is pretty low quality material. On the inside, we have the speaker mesh all of this feels like plastic. All right, let's take a look at the buttons over here. This one is pretty wild. There's so much wiggle in that top button that it looks like it's about to fall off. And the click on this one, that just feels wrong. The real one doesn't feel like that when you click it down. All right, in my heart of hearts, I know that these aren't real AirPods Max, but the animation that I'm seeing on the screen looks like the real deal. If you were connecting a real set of AirPods Max, this is the exact same screen that you'd see. It does have the ear detection that does seem to be working now. The volume rocker works, but you can feel the button scrape against the shell. That feels really uncomfortable. And as far as transparency mode goes, there's no noise cancellation on these things that I can determine. Just like real AirPods, the cushions are magnetically secured. And just like real AirPods, these headphones use pentalobe 5 screws. This is one of the very few rare cases where you'll see pentalobe screws in a non-Apple device. But unlike Apple's AirPods Max, these P5 screws aren't captive. The plastic cover also has less glue than the original AirPods, but it's still a less than pleasant disassembly experience. Once I'm in, it's painfully obvious that these headphones are fake, but on the plus side, the battery uses a JST style connector which is easily accessible. Popping the battery out gives me a mystery battery. I can't make out any markings on this thing, so you're on your own for figuring out the runtime on these headphones. Buyer beware, there have been cases of counterfeit products using non-rechargeable batteries, literally making them one-use disposable devices. The internals are pretty basic, so I'm gonna go around and disconnect any flex cables I can find. There's a couple of screws too before I can remove the PCB. As I remove it, a couple of the soldered audio cables just break off. That's indicative of a very poor soldering job. It's worth mentioning that the interconnect cables on the original AirPods are not soldered on like this, they use a metal sliding connector instead. The desoldering isn't difficult, it's the reassembly that's gonna need more time and skill. There's not much else left on this side other than button boards and a USB-C port. Take note, there are no MEMS microphones for active noise cancellation anywhere that I can see. It's time to open up the other side, and there's even less to see on this ear cup. Take note of those big silver pillars on each side. I'll come back to them in a minute. For now, I'd love to be able to separate the ear cups from the headphone, but the hinge mechanism doesn't work like that. Where the original AirPods have tiny lightning connectors that allow the cups to be fully modular, the fake pods use a simple C-clip to secure the cups to the headband. Coming back to one of those silver cylinders, can you guess what they are? If you said heavily epoxied steel weights to give the product the heft of original AirPods, then you're right on the money. And you can very easily see the distribution of the weights in a CT scan, along with the fact that these are super fake. So the last device is the AirPods 3rd generation, and these do look pretty good. It's gonna be really hard telling these apart from the real deal, so I brought a real set here so I can do a side-by-side comparison to help me out. Now, off the bat, again, everything by touch. The plastic does feel slightly different on the real set. Ever so slightly. I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference if I was out and about and someone handed me a fake set. If we look at the buds themselves, they look really similar. They look very similar. There's not anything that I can see. Well, here we go actually. If you look at the seams here, it's a little bit more pronounced on what we're assuming are the fake set, but I'm less and less confident about that as I look around the device. There's a bit of an opening here that's pretty clear as well on the real set, or what I know to be the real set. For the tips, yeah, there's definitely some difference there. Oh dear. Well, that answers that question. So I managed to snap a couple of cables with our little accident there. But inside the buds now, we can see there's a driver on this side. And as far as I can tell, the tip is glued on. I think that's why the whole thing's separated. This thing is not gonna come off. On the business side of the buds, we have a lithium polymer pouch. That's not what the real AirPods use. Real AirPods use button cell batteries. There's no epoxy on the inside either, which is kind of a positive. And as a result, we can see the PCB on the inside where the brains of the device are. Other than that, we've got a single magnet here that secures the buds to the case when you pop them inside the case. To get a closer look, we're going to have to cut these open and take that board out, see if there's any microphones inside as well.
Now, we already saw some of the AirPods deconstruction, and there's no doubt that they're fake. A quick peek at a CT scan confirms it. MEMS microphones are missing, cheap looking drivers, and a very basic construction using soldered copper wire instead of flex cables are all dead giveaways. But let's start over and do this properly. The earbud drivers seem to be held in by clips, and that explains why it came apart earlier with only a little bit of force. Popping the driver away reveals the battery, again completely unmarked, and behind that the connecting copper wires which need to be desoldered. That's definitely been a theme throughout these teardowns. Soldering is cheaper and easier than using press connectors, so it makes sense that it's the go-to when constructing cheap clone devices. Though here's something interesting. The pods themselves are constructed like first-gen AirPods. Using a blade and applying a bit of pressure on the lower stem releases the PCB and it slides out like a tray. And check this out, where the original AirPods used clever tricks using sound to simulate a button click without haptics, these pods just use buttons. Here's another difference. The AirPods Pro 3 have heart rate sensors and ANC mics where these black cutouts in the plastic are. As you can see, those ANC mics and sensors simply don't exist here, so no heart rate sensor and no active noise cancellation. That's pretty much it for the buds, so let's take a look at the case. The inner tray is clipped into the outer shell and a bit of light prying separates the two. Disconnecting a flex cable and undoing a screw lets me lift away the PCB to reveal the wireless charging coil and under that, the battery. And once again, I have an unmarked battery here. Without those markings, there's no way of telling what the battery capacity is without running a full charge and discharge cycle using specialized test equipment. In general, if you see a lithium battery with no markings on it like this one, assume it's not safe to use. At a minimum, it tells you that the battery hasn't been certified for use in consumer electronics. So there you have it, 3 so-called Apple devices with a retail value of around $1,600 that we got for less than $100. For that price, we got 3 devices that imitate the aesthetics of the real thing but can't deliver on functionality, 2 devices that use unmarked and uncertified batteries, 1 device that substitutes steel weights to imitate the real device, and no partridge in a pear tree because, you know, it's June. Now, it's not at all surprising to find out that fake AirPods are e-waste, so are the real ones. These at least are easier to get into, but they're so cheaply made that they're not going to deliver the functionality consumers expect, and when they die, they may as well be real AirPods because you won't be able to find parts to fix them. You've got the same problem with the watch and the over-ear headphones. No parts, abysmal quality, and nearly none of the original device's functionality. Like most counterfeits, these will either fail and end up in the waste stream, or the buyer takes them home and realizes they're fake and throws them away eventually. If I was taking these into my home, my first concern would be, are they even safe to charge? Or are they gonna burn my house down?